Let's be real for a second. You know exactly what you need to do. You know you need to write that report. You know you need to hit the gym. You know you need to put the phone down and sleep. The logic is there. The plan is there. But your body? Your body feels like it weighs 1,000 pounds to do what's to be done. There is a gap, a frustrating invisible canyon between your intentions and your actions. And when you fail to cross that gap, you don't just lose time, you lose respect for yourself. You start telling yourself a story. I'm just lazy, or I just don't have the willpower gene. But what if I told you that laziness isn't a character flaw? What if I told you that your brain is actually functioning exactly how it evolved to function? Today, we aren't talking about getting motivated. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings are fickle. We are talking about discipline. We are going to dismantle the neuroscience of why your mind resists hard work. And I'm going to give you a 3-part, science-backed protocol to override your biology and build ironclad discipline, even when your mind refuses to cooperate. Part 1, the science of resistance, why you are fighting yourself. To beat the enemy, you have to know the enemy. And in this case, the enemy is inside your skull. Neuroscience gives us a framework called the dual process theory. Roughly speaking, you have 2 captains fighting for the steering wheel of your life. Captain number 1 is the prefrontal cortex. This is the newest part of the brain. It handles logic, long-term planning, and impulse control. It's the part of you that says, if I work out today, I will live longer. Then there is captain number 2, the limbic system, specifically the basal ganglia. This is the ancient primal brain. It doesn't care about your 10-year plan. It cares about 2 things: preserving energy and seeking immediate pleasure. Psychologist Jonathan Haidt calls this the rider and the elephant. The rider is your rational mind, the prefrontal cortex. The elephant is your emotional primal mind. Here's the problem. The rider's smart, but the elephant is huge and strong. When you try to force discipline using just willpower, that's the tiny rider trying to drag the massive elephant. It works for 5 minutes, and then the rider gets exhausted. This is why trying harder fails. The elephant perceives effort as a threat to energy conservation. This is called limbic friction. So, how do we get the elephant to move without dragging it? We don't fight it, we trick it. Part 2, the architecture of action, lowering the bar. The first step in our protocol is changing the physics of your environment. We need to manipulate activation energy. In chemistry, activation energy is the minimum amount of energy required to start a reaction. The same applies to your habits. If the activation energy is too high, the elephant won't budge. Let's say you want to practice guitar. If the guitar is in its case, in the closet, behind the vacuum, the activation energy is high. Your brain calculates the steps. Open door, move vacuum, unlatch case, pick up guitar. That's too much friction. The solution? The 20-second rule. Author Sean Akor popularized this. If you can make a positive habit 20 seconds easier to start, your likelihood of doing it skyrockets. Conversely, make a bad habit 20 seconds harder. But let's go deeper. It's not just about physical friction, it's about mental friction. Often we procrastinate because the task feels ambiguous. Write the thesis is a terrifying task for the brain. It's vague and huge. We need to use implementation intentions. This is a strategy backed by hundreds of studies. You don't say, I will work out. You say, when X happens, I will do Y. When I pour my coffee, I will open my laptop. When I brush my teeth, I will read 1 page. You're removing the decision-making process. Discipline fatigues the brain when you have to decide to do the right thing. By automating the trigger, you save your energy for the task itself. Part 3, the dopamine hack, managing the middle. Okay, so you've set up the environment. You've started. But 10 minutes in, that itching feeling comes back. The boredom. The urge to check your phone. This is your dopamine baseline dropping. Dopamine is not the molecule of pleasure. It is the molecule of craving and pursuit. When you scroll TikTok or Instagram, you are flooding your brain with cheap, passive dopamine. When you switch to writing a boring document, your dopamine levels crash below baseline. That crash feels like pain. It feels like agitation. Most people interpret this agitation as, I need a break. Science says this agitation is actually the gate to focus. Dr. Andrew Huberman, a neuroscientist at Stanford, explains that epinephrine, adrenaline, is released when we start a hard task. It feels like stress, but if you can push through that agitation gate, usually lasting about 10 to 15 minutes, your brain will release acetylcholine, which locks in focus. You have to teach yourself that the agitation is the warm-up, not the signal to stop. Here is the actionable cue, the 10-minute rule. Tell yourself, I only have to do this for 10 minutes. If I still hate it after 10 minutes, I am allowed to quit. You are negotiating with the elephant. The elephant is scared of forever, but it can handle 10 minutes. Once you cross that 10-minute threshold, the neurochemistry shifts, and you usually find you can keep going. And while you are in it, stop rewarding yourself with the outcome. Reward yourself for the effort. Carol Dweck's research on growth mindset shows that if you praise the process, I'm proud that I sat down to write even though it was hard, you actually replenish your dopamine reserves. If you only care about the finished product, the process becomes torture. The fail protocol. What to do when you slip. Now, here's the part most discipline guides leave out. You are going to fail. You will have a day where you eat pizza, skip the gym, and doom scroll for 3 hours. What happens next determines everything. Most people fall into the what the hell effect. This is a real term in behavioral psychology. It goes like this. Well, I already ruined my diet with this donut. So what the hell? I might as well eat the whole box and start over on Monday. This all or nothing thinking destroys consistency. You need a fail protocol. Rule number 1, never miss twice. James Clear talks about this. 1 bad meal is a slip. 2 bad meals is the start of a new bad habit. If you miss your morning workout, do 10 push-ups before bed. Keep the thread alive. Rule number 2, separate guilt from data. When you mess up, don't say, I'm a failure. Say, my system failed. Why did you skip the gym? Was it because your clothes weren't ready? Was it because you stayed up too late? Treat yourself like a scientist observing a lab rat. Analyze the variable that caused the failure, fix that variable, and try again. Guilt drains energy. Curiosity creates solutions. Discipline isn't a personality trait you are born with. It is a muscle. And like any muscle, it tears before it grows. When your mind doesn't cooperate, remember, the elephant is strong, but you are the rider. Take the reins. If you found this helpful, I've linked a discipline tracker worksheet in the description to help you map out your friction points. Now, stop watching videos. Go do the thing that takes your life forward.